Hey everyone, my name is Joe Esposito, host of the 161st Street Show. On today's show, we'll be discussing the Yankees re-signing outfielder Cody Bellinger, what the Yankees could be looking to do next following the Bellinger re-signing, and then the fallout of Freddie Peralta and Mackenzie Gore being traded these past 2 days. So I'll just dive right into it. Cody Bellinger's resigned with the Yankees, the thing that has been speculated on, talked about for pretty much all offseason. The two sides were always likely to come back to each other. They'd always made the most sense, and they were able to find common ground. I mean, for the most part, the Yankees held firm on their latest offer. It came in at 5 years, 162.5 million. There are opt-outs on the deal after the second and third year of the contract. There is also a $20 million signing bonus included. The way the contract breaks down, it pretty much comes out to 2 years, 85 million with the signing bonus included, and then 26 million a year after those first 2 years. So the AAV drops from 32.5 to 26 million following the first 2 years of the deal. So a couple quick thoughts. Again, like I said, it just always made the most sense for both sides to come back to each other from a Yankees perspective. Cody Bellinger made the 2026 team infinitely better. Just right now, Jasson Dominguez is not an everyday outfielder, at least on this team. The defense is quite poor, and it's just not something you can rely on every day out there. Cody Bellinger is a reliable outfielder. Obviously, he had a phenomenal offensive season in 2025 with the Yankees. So ultimately, both sides felt it was best to get back together, and that's exactly what they did. Now that Bellinger's resigned, I want to take a quick look at the roster. So let me share my screen here. Okay. So as you can see, the Yankees are pretty much running back the same team from 2025 as of right now, barring any obviously changes moving forward. From a position player perspective, it is 100% the same lineup. I'm not going to fall into the camp of being negative, and frankly, I can't believe the amount of people that are basing their whole perspective on this offensive unit from 2025 from the 7 game sample size of the postseason, where, to be honest, they really were not quote that bad. It was more so the pitching that let us down in the ALDS against the Blue Jays. But that's neither here nor there. I mean, this lineup from top to bottom is, I mean, very good. I mean, you have Trent Grisham, 129 WRC plus, Judge, 204 WRC plus, Bellinger, 125, Rice, 133, Stanton, 158, Chisholm, 126. And then you have three slightly below average players here. Obviously, McMahon was around league average after coming over to the Yankees at the deadline. Austin Wells was up and down. Jose Caballero was obviously quite good for the Yankees in the second half, but I think shortstop will be manned by Anthony Volpe once he fully recovers from his labrum surgery that he had this offseason. Again, I mean, this offense is good. There's just no way around it. Like people could be negative, people could say what they want. I'm just not gonna let my opinion on them be completely manufactured by 7 games when they were the number one offense in baseball. And not even that, they were against playoff teams this past year. They were second in WRC plus. This narrative that they didn't hit good pitching, I don't know where this came from, but it's crazy to me. It's crazy to me. It's so funny that people just get so if a team runs it back, it's automatically perceived as a bad thing, especially if you didn't win the year prior. I just don't think it's the case. I think the Yankees, need help pitching wise, not hitting wise. So that will bring me into the next part of the conversation in the pitching department. So right now, obviously starting five healthy is Max Fried, Cam Schlittler, Will Warren, Ryan Weathers, Luis Heel. So by no means is that a bad starting five, especially knowing the fact that, you have Rodon coming back after a month. You have Garrett Cole coming back probably around June 1st. There's a lot of help on the way, but you are opening yourself up to a very, very bad situation. I mean, you're simply relying on the fact that, Max Fried, Cam Schlittler, Will Warren, all coming off of career highs in innings. And then Luis Hill, coming off of a high grade lat strain, is going to stay healthy. And then Ryan Weathers, someone who is notoriously injury prone. So it's just a lot of ifs. When you're using the word if a lot when talking about health and injuries, it's never a good thing, especially when it's essentially, in terms of injury concerns, two of them are big injury concerns. And like I said, three of them are coming off career highs in innings, which has, a track record of leading to injuries that following year for those pitchers. So that's obviously from the starting pitcher perspective. Now you go to the bullpen. The bullpen is full of question marks. I mean, you have Cade Winquist, who they got in the Rule 5 draft from the St. Louis Cardinals. Obviously, high upside arm, good velo. Could they make him into something? Potentially, but he's never pitched above Double A. So again, risk. Caleb Ort, someone DFA'd by the Astros that they claimed on waivers. Again, high velo guy, has had some success in the past, but has a major walk issue that needs to be cleaned up. So definitely someone you cannot rely on. Paul Blackburn had a very small sample size. Someone I do think I see what the Yankees are seeing. I see the vision there. At the end of the day, I mean, you have simply three question marks in your bullpen. And obviously you have Bednar, who's good, Doval, who was rough when coming over to the Yankees, but he seemed to pick it up at the end. Cruz, who was pretty good. I would like to see him develop another pitch. It seemed like as the year was going on, don't know if it was fatigue, but it did seem like hitters were starting to pick up on his pitch mix. I think maybe his repertoire needs to be mixed up a little bit more. And then Tim Hill is obviously very solid, no complaints. And Ryan Yarbrough is your long man, swing man type of deal. Again, I just think they need more on the pitching side. I mean, there's just really no way around it. I think it would be of great help. I think that this team is just, as of right now, way too hopeful and reliant that all of these injured pitchers are going to come back and live up to their expectations, which is asking a lot. Garrett Cole coming back from Tommy John. Carlos Rodon coming back from a bone spur being removed. Mark Smith coming back from Tommy John. I mean, it's just, again, it's a lot of ifs, it's a lot of maybes. It's just not an ideal situation to be in from, at least a roster building perspective. I'll talk about the bench briefly. Obviously, right now, the projected bench is JC Escara, Oswaldo Cabrera, Ahmed Rosario, Jasson Dominguez. The Yankees, in my opinion, would do themselves a great benefit, and if they got not only a right-handed catcher but also a right-handed hitting outfield. Because here's the deal: Jasson Dominguez sitting on the bench for an entire year, losing another year of service, doesn't make any sense. It's kind of crazy that Jasson Dominguez was this heralded prospect that he was a can't miss. He was a Mickey Mantle. He was someone that the Yankees thought, was a guarantee. He was a lock that, he was going to be exactly what they needed him to be. It's unfortunate that his defense is not where it needs to be. Obviously, from an offensive perspective, especially against right-handed pitching, he's a good hitter. I mean, I believe it was a 116 WRC plus against right-handed pitching. Obviously, from left-handed pitching was giving him trouble. I mean, I think right now, the Yankees have to do everything they can to move Jasson Dominguez. It's an unfortunate situation to be in. Um, I think they have to sell high while his value was there. Really, the only reason you would keep him on the roster is essentially if you're trying to get ahead of what seems like inevitable Giancarlo Stanton missing, 4 to 8 weeks, something like that. That seems to kind of be a yearly occurrence at this point. But is it worth, again, losing a year of service and potentially decreasing his trade value? Because at the end of the day, should he perform, if he performs at least up to this past year's, levels of stealing bases, being great against right-handed pitching, his value will still hold to a degree, but at the end of the day, he's another year older, 1 year less of service time, potentially losing an option. If you do sign a right-handed hitting outfielder and you kind of stash him in AAA until, that, again, like I said, that injury that inevitably comes, which brings me to my next point. So I'll stop sharing my screen at this point. So obviously the past 2 days, 2 arms the Yankees were linked to for predominantly, I would say almost the whole offseason at this point, was Freddie Peralta and Mackenzie Gore. So with the teams that were going in on Freddie Peralta for most of the offseason, it was projected that the Dodgers would be in, the Mets would be in. And at the end of the day, unfortunately, the Yankees just simply cannot compete with those teams' farm system from where they are at. The Yankees have, especially in the past, routinely made trades. They've been able to maintain their top 6, 7, 8 prospects in their farm system, but they've been dealing from a lot of their depth. So your Rock Rigos, the Griffin Herrings, those type of players. Dylan Lewis, obviously, just the move in the Ryan Weathers deal. Yes, you don't move your high end talent, but you miss out on keeping those pieces that end up being the second or third piece that can be in these type of deals for these type of arms. So unfortunately, Freddie Peralta ultimately gets moved to the Mets. The Yankees were never going to be able to top the package that that they gave to the Brewers. It was impossible. Like they did not have the pieces. The Mackenzie Gore one moving to the Rangers was a little bit weirder when you look at baseball trade values. Seems like it was an underpay from the Rangers aspect of the deal. But again, you can't understand and fully know how teams value other teams' prospects. You could look on paper and say, how could they not take, a combination of Jasson Dominguez, one of Elmer Rodriguez or Carlos LaGrange, and then maybe some other lower level prospect over, that quantity over quality deal that they took. At the end of the day, you don't know. The Nationals could really obviously I'm for the names are escaping me, but I know one of the guys moved. The big piece was the 12th overall pick in this past year's draft. And then there was a high upside, starting pitcher that was high end, but he did have Tommy John. So there was just a couple pieces that ultimately the Nationals felt were a better fit for their organization. They liked a little bit more, which you can't fault them for at the end of the day. That's kind of the complication of relying on using the trade market to fill your holes. I think the Yankees should be exploring the free agent starting pitching market a little bit more, at least see what is out there. I know their payroll's already at about, I want to say like about 317 after the Bellinger re-signing. So I totally understand them not wanting to bring in a high priced arm, but at the end of the day, if you can get someone like Framber Valdez on, 1+1+1 for a high AAV, I just think that's something you should consider. I mean, you don't have to deal from your farm system. You let everyone get another year of growth under their system. So obviously more prospects will, develop or come out or break out. So I think that's something they should do. There are a few arms left they could trade for, but those aren't arms that, are being rumored. Those are kind of, I want to say, fan created trade targets. I know Ryan Garcia of Empire Sports Media. He mentioned way early in the offseason about Nick Lodolo of the Cincinnati Reds. I know people are like, oh, no, not another left-handed pitching. At the end of the day, I don't think that really matters much. I think that you get good players and you just make it work. Nick Lodolo is obviously awesome. I think that it could work, a potential deal. The Reds could look for, out of like getting a Jasson Dominguez and then getting a younger arm thrown in there, just something type of deal like that for Nick Lodolo. And then there's one that I've noticed that of a pitcher that has 2 years of control left, Drew Rasmussen of the Tampa Bay Rays. Would be a little bit weirder. I mean, Rays did trade with the Baltimore Orioles this offseason when trading Shane Baz within division, so I guess it's totally not off the table. But again, these aren't people that like the insiders are speculating on that there's out there in trade conversations. So again, that's more fan created narratives. I do think the Yankees need to do something from the pitching aspect. I think whether that is bringing in another starting pitcher, but I don't think they really need a low end guy. I think if they're going to make an add to the rotation, I think it needs to be a guy you would want to start in a playoff series, a game 2, a game 3 type of starter. Like, I don't think they need a, Lucas Giolito or Justin Verlander type of arm to, eat innings. I think they have people in their system that can come up and can do that. I just think they really could use a high end arm. I think that really would elevate them to another level, to be quite honest. They could go the ulterior route and try to shore up their bullpen. Like I said, they have, currently a Rule 5 guy in Cade Winquist in there, a waiver claim in Caleb Ort. They obviously have Paul Blackburn, who is a question mark to a degree. Like I said, I could see the vision with him. He did look good. There was some, difference in his pitch repertoire. They mixed up his pitches. So I think he could work, and they did give him a guaranteed major league deal. So I think that is someone they're going to at least move forward with for the first part of the season, regardless of how it looks early on, unless it's horrendous. I mean, it's $2 million. I'm sure we'll move on, but I think that's kind of the route they need to go at this point. I think they need a right-handed hitting outfield, right-handed hitting center fielder. I think they need a starting pitcher or go all in and kind of sharp the bullpen. So go for maybe like Trevor McGill of Milwaukee. Maybe you dangle Dominguez and try to get one of those relievers with a lot of control that maybe no one's really talking about. Let's say Jeremiah Estrada of San Diego. That's just a name that I've thought of. That guy has a ton of control. Could make sense for both sides. Padres get outfielder. Yankees get a reliever. But the Yankees, It's funny. Cody Bellinger always felt like step one of the Yankees offseason, and it's just a little odd that it took till January 21st for step one to be completed and pitchers and catchers report, and I think under 4 weeks. So the timing is a little weird. But like the Mets just proved, the Mets, I mean, in the last week, they got Bo Bichette, Luis Robert Jr., Freddie Peralta. You can make an offseason great with just a few moves and they could be rapid fire. So it can kind of come out of nowhere because Mets fans were moaning and groaning about a week ago. And now I'm sure they're happy as can be. So the Yankees really need to do more. I hope they do more. I think this team is currently incomplete from a position player standpoint, from starting lineup. Again, I think they're going to be really good. There's really no reason for them not to be good. There's nothing showing from the data of any players that I think like they overperform. For the most part, most players actually underperform. Ben Rice, oh my God, he underperformed. It was crazy, to be honest. His batted ball luck is horrendous. It's crazy. Can't be that bad again, I hope. Trent Grisham, obviously, was great. Cody Bellinger, underlyings aren't amazing, but his swing really fits Yankee Stadium, so I'm sure he will produce offensively. And then you have, of course, you have Aaron Judge. So, I mean, but let me know what you guys think down in the comments. Are you satisfied with the Cody Bellinger contract? Do you believe it was an overpay? Do you believe it was a good deal? What move would you like to see the Yankees make next? Do you want to see them get a starter, a reliever, trade Jasson Dominguez? What are you guys looking for? Like and subscribe on this video, and let's go Yankees, everyone. Have a good one.